Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar presented by Trident University International Center for Career Planning and Workforce Strategies. I'm Marketing Specialist Daniel Sloan, and today we are bringing you Making the Most Out of Your Trident Network. Today's webinar is going to be a little different than what you may have come to expect from the Career Center. It's going to be a bit of a presentation melded with a roundtable. We'll be joined by, of course, Emanuel Sepulveda, who's Career Center Manager, Dr. Mark Pieffer, who is the Associate Dean of our Glenn R. Jones College of Business, and Kendra Temple, who is our Director of Alumni Relations. Just a little quick background on each of them. Manny's been at Trident for a few years, and he's a veteran of the U.S. Navy. And while in service, he worked as a counselor recruiter, and he earned his Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration from Trident. That's right, Manny. It's a BSBA, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget the easiest things. And of course, with Dr. Mark Pieffer joining us today, prior to joining Trident in 2015, he served as provost at Jones International University, and he's held numerous roles in academia, and he's also a 20-year veteran of the United States Army. And of course, we have Kendra Temple with us. She's been at Trident for quite some time, over 10 years, and she knows our alumni very, very well. And she does a great job with connecting them to the myriad of opportunities Trident has to offer all of our students and alumni. So I'm going to hand things off to Manny to start our presentation. But if you have any questions, feel free to submit them at any time. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, but some of your questions will be brought up during the webinar as well. So I'm going to hand things off to Manny. So take it away.
Thanks, Manny. How you doing? And thanks for everybody for actually coming in today and spending some time with us. And one of the things that today's agenda is going to be a brief networking overview. Who makes up the Trident Network? How to tap into the network for the benefit of your career. And then, of course, we're going to have some questions and answers. So today what we're going to be doing is, going over some network overviews. Relationships are important to your career. Believe it or not, you're starting your connections and your network while you're speaking to anybody. And that's one of the main things I tell everybody. You never know who you're speaking to, so always treat everybody with respect and always make sure you leave a good impression. Our students and alumni have access to a vast network and other resources that a lot of people don't look right in front of us. Especially with Trident resources, people are right in front of us, and our resources are right in front of us, and a lot of us, including myself, don't take advantage of those networks. And then how can we leverage these networks and on these resources?
Okay. I have a question for Dr. Pieffer, and while he's answering that, Manny, your vocals are a little scratchy. So, is there any way you could fix that? But Dr. Pieffer, the question for you is that from where you stand as Associate Dean, what are some ways that you can see students improve their networking with faculty? Because of course faculty can really open doors for students' careers.
Absolutely. I look forward each time I teach a session, just to link in with the students and talk to them. And what I've found since I've been at Trident, we do have a lot of military, as we all know, and a lot of times in the military we hesitate to ask supervisors. We try to work it out on our own, and and we probably do a good job. But I got to tell you, what we're doing, if we don't go to the professors and ask them questions and do the introduction in the class and let them know a little bit about you, you're missing really a good link to your classes and possibly a link to somebody who's really interested in what you want to do your research in different classes. So I guess my recommendation would be, don't be nervous or hesitate to talk to your faculty and ask them questions, because I got to tell you, for me, I love it. I get back to you as quick as I can, and we get some great conversations going. So don't hesitate to use your faculty member.
Yeah. From where I stand, I think a good example of that is that putting together Trident's press releases, there's been numerous times where I've written press releases on students who have published research with faculty members. And just a quick little story about Dr. Pieffer. About a year ago, he attended one of our doctoral webinars, and afterwards he emailed me, reached out, and was like, "Do you have the contact information for the student who just presented? He, I think we have some similar research areas. I'd like to reach out to him." I mean, that's definitely the type of attitude that prevails at Trident. I mean, Kendra, in your time at Trident, you've seen a lot, but has there been any kind of consistencies you've seen among students when it comes to networking, whether it's faculty or staff?
Yeah, I think that students and alumni can be such a great resource. In your classes, you're connecting with them on the discussion thread boards. But what you can do is really, cultivate those relationships to help you expand your network and make career connections and really valuable resources from just those connections you make in the classroom. And what's really amazing is that in this last year, Trident has brought on, a new platform, Alumni Fire. Some of you may have heard of it. Where it's sort of an outside source and tool where you can go to build upon those relations, and it spurs the conversation amongst students and alumni to reach out and ask for help, to network and mentor and connect with one another from anywhere in the world. And it's been really fun to watch our students and alumni connect on this tool and really make valuable relationships that are helping them, in their both their personal and professional life. I mean, we see alumni and students connecting for things as simple as relocation advice, and all the way up to resume review and informational interviews and even military transition advice. I know Dr. Pieffer talked about our population being so heavily military, and really those service members even reaching out to the civilian students and building those connections to support one another. So I think that Alumni Fire really has given our students and alumni a way to connect in a platform that they've been sort of looking for many years. And so I can talk about Alumni Fire all day, but if you haven't visited, it really does give you the resources to connect with one another.
Thank you, Kendra. And Manny, let's move on to some more networking advice.
Right. When working with follow these steps, okay, when you're networking, figure out who matters the most. I know that's kind of harsh, right? But in our world, right, we have our friends, we have our families, and of course we have our colleagues, right? And one of the most important things is that just because you have a connection in LinkedIn, I'm using that as an example, that's with a CEO, right? It's great to keep in touch with that person, but is that CEO on the day-to-day basis going to be able to help you, in the long run? Sometimes, of course, send them emails and stuff like that, and always keep in touch with them. But sometimes putting them in a list above other people, you can be going the wrong way, or you can be going the right way. It all depends, right, on that CEO. But a lot of times you have to cultivate that relationship. Identify, of course, your next tier. That's what I was talking about, putting them in different segments. One of the things about the tiers is that ones that you're really going to be able to connect. Those are your people that are you need something. They're your backbone. You help them out. they help you out. The next tier is people that have helped you out in the past, but not as much. And then people that have the opportunity to be able to help, and you'll be able to help them. So it has to be a mutual, mutual relationship. A lot of people do, and I'm one of them. I'm going to be honest. Is that what I do is I go ahead and just ask for something right away instead of trying to cultivate a relationship. You have to treat these networks just like you do, a relationship, and that's exactly what it is. It's just on multimedia or or a LinkedIn or whatever it is. But an easy way to engage and stay engaged. You need to always be engaged. The one tier, you should always be talking with them. The next tier, you should at least send them an email every month just to say, hey, I'm here. How you doing? How can I help you out? And then find ways to help others. Like I said before, a lot of people, are always grabbing instead of giving first. I guarantee you, if you give first, right, and then ask, they'll be a lot open to helping you get to where you need to be. At the same time, you're helping them, to get where they need to be.
Yeah. So, of course, Trident has a lot of students with military backgrounds. And let me pose this question to you first, Dr. Pieffer. How does someone who's, say, they're a younger person who's, say, the staff sergeant in the Army who's finishing their bachelor's degree, how do they engage with a professor who may be 30, 40 years their senior and cultivate a relationship like that? Because it may seem daunting.
Man, do I look that old that I'm 40 years older than they are?
I don't think you weren't part of the example.
You've got as I've had some students. I was fortunate enough to retire as a lieutenant colonel, and we have some young enlisted soldiers that, quite frankly, you didn't talk to a lieutenant colonel when you're on active duty. That's not like it is at Trident. I mean, quite frankly, I look at, and I've had a couple of them say to me, I was just hesitant to ask you because of the fact, quite frankly, I just never talked to one. But, I try to tell them, I say, listen, man, I am an instructor here, and my whole goal is to get you successfully through this class and to graduation. So we got to put some of that military stuff in the background and remember that, this is a university, and quite frankly, professors are really here to help you and keep you going.
Yeah, and Kendra, I know you get a lot of messages on Alumni Fire asking for, information about maybe jobs, about people who can help out with careers. Is that something that you would expect to see more of? And is that something that is effective when students or alumni do that?
Yeah, absolutely. On Alumni Fire right now, 50% of the people on there, 54% to be exact, actually have job opportunities available at the organizations where they work, and they want to hire Trident grads. They are empowered when their university is represented at their organization, and there is more of that flourishing there. So even one example we had, I believe last month, we had a graduate, actually one of our triple grads, who posted a job opportunity. He recently transitioned from the military and successfully obtained a job with Booz Allen Hamilton. And he was so happy there, and with his experience, he wanted to see more representation from Trident at his organization. So on Alumni Fire, he posted opportunities and said, if anyone wants me to help open a door, here's the opportunities with my organization, I'm here to help. And one example is Robert Sanchez. He raised his hand and said, hey, I'm transitioning, I want the same support that you have. And, they connected, they met, and as a result, Robert, within like a month, Robert Sanchez was hired on by Booz Allen Hamilton, and now we have, a minimum of 2 people working there. So that really is the power of the tool. And we have 50% of our population that is on there that work for organizations that are hiring. So you identify those organizations, see what alumni are working there, connect with those students and alumni, and help them open doors. The whole key of that tool is to make it so our students and alumni never have a cold call. They never have a closed door and can make those connections and use their network, as Manny and Dr. Pieffer have said, to, find those opportunities beyond the academic classroom and see their success in their careers as well.
So Manny, you talked about who matters the most. I mean, how do you determine that?
One of the things that I kind of like went a little bit ahead. I explained it a little bit, but one of the things is, of course, you just have to know that person you have a relationship with that person. That person you can go out and have dinner with or something like that, or that if you need something, that person, all you have to do is just send an email, a phone call, or anything like that, that they will be there for you. And at the same time, they can help you get to where, let's just say you're a student and you are looking to find a job, right? So one of the biggest things that one thing that I would do if I was a student is I would go into the Career Center, and actually it's called Simplicity or Fort Trident Careers, and actually connect with the manager, myself, right? Because we have a platform that employers are looking to hire our students. Just like Alumni Fire, I mean, this is a place where you can actually look all over the United States and all over the world, actually, and you can find jobs, and we have connections with employers. So that would be one of mine. Next one, of course, I'll be with Kendra, right? Because why? She can connect with people, right? She knows the Alumni Fire. So a lot of those are like key. Of course, your professors. And I mean, you put it all together, that should be, as your student, I'm putting that as an example. If you're a student, a professor, a person that can help you find a career, and a person that can connect you with multiple people, right? So that's one type. The next, then you have, of course, the ones that just generally just care about your school and want to, or that want to make sure that you are hired, and and they want to help you to the next step. Those are the most important ones, and that when you're picking your group.
And what about what about the next tier?
The next tier is people who, of course, people that have helped you or have potential of helping you in the future. And again, I'm saying, to put those in the next tier, the main thing when it comes down to this is building relationships. The first tier you already have relationships with. You're cultivating those relationships. These are the ones that you want to be able to cultivate them as well a little further. So then that person in that tier can move to the first tier, right? So it takes time. People think it's going to be instantaneously. It doesn't happen that way. Just like in a relationship, right? You have to have a common thread and making sure that everybody is as one, right? So then send them an email every once in a while, or like I did the other day. It was bad, okay, because and I haven't seen my friend in about 6 years, right? And all of a sudden he has a job, right? So I'm on LinkedIn, and that job just so happens to be his recruiting, right? For a corporation. So the first thing I did is I went for the jugular. Hey, I got a bunch of students that would want to go, and then of course I'm doing background, doing some stuff about networking, and then I see this, about helping others first, and ask. I send them an email right back, and I said, listen, I am so sorry. I apologize. I mean, I didn't even say hi to you, and and how you doing? I just went straight to what can you do for me? And of course, he knows me from before, and we I could have broken that relationship. That person could have been just turned off. And there goes the relationship, that I was trying to build. So again, sending emails. Now what I did with him is I have a young man that is looking for a job, and he's looking for somebody the same way. So I just sent it to him. I didn't ask him if he needed it. I just sent it to him, give them a gift, and then of course he called me back. He goes, "Hey man, thanks." So it just so happens that just being able to keep those relationships together. Stay engaged. One of the things about staying engaged. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I did the classic start talking when my phone was on mute, but I was going to ask Kendra, because she was speaking a lot about Alumni Fire. I mean, is that a platform that you often see people making these initial connections where they're moving from the first tier, to the second tier? I mean, you shared the example of the Booz Hamilton situation, but is that something that happens often? And is there a forum on Alumni Fire for that?
Yeah, on Alumni Fire, you can really, a lot of times these are students and alumni you haven't met on discussion board threads or in your class, or may not even be in a field that you've worked in the past and are wanting to go into. And what's neat is that it automatically pulls from their social media posts anything in. So it pulls in their history from LinkedIn. So you can actually see, where they worked, what their history is. You get a little bit of insight so that who you're wanting to reach out to for those different tiered relationships, and can start saying, and you actually see on everybody's profile, you actually see what they're willing to offer their community, whether that's those informational interviews, resume reviews, things like that. And so then you're actually reaching out to people who are saying they want to help their Trident community in that way. And they can say, I want to offer informational interviews once a month. And so then you're actually pinging someone that wants to be pinged instead of, not really knowing in a discussion thread post on TLC portal if that's an appropriate, connection. These are the people that really want to move throughout those tier 1 and tier 2s and help their community. So it definitely, I think, can help bridge that gap and open those doors to make those connections and to move from the tier 1 to the tier 2 and hopefully find great outcomes as a result.
That's great advice. And Manny, for those who may not know, what exactly is an informational interview?
An informational interview is where you can actually, they're interviewing you in to see if you like them and they like you, okay? One of the things is they're trying to find out about yourself, about you, right? And then, of course, you get an opportunity to be able to ask them questions as well. And it's simple interviewing techniques and stuff like that, but it's just an informational and it's not that that stressful.
Yeah, and it sounds a little bit like a first date, so it might be stressful for people.
Yes.
Alumni Fire is not Match.com.
Yeah.
One of the things that you have, same thing you have in Simplicity, I call it Trident for Careers. But one of the things is that the same way you can connect with the beauty of this, that you can connect with students, you can actually connect with employers, right? And they have their email address, their contact information, where you can actually send them emails as well and tell them, hey, I'm from Trident. I see that you posted this job, and then can you send me a little bit more, elaborate on this job description, and introduce yourself? It's a great thing because these employers are the ones that are actually posting jobs for our students and alumni to be able to hire them because they know the product that Trident is out.
Yeah. Well, we had a question from the audience about local meetups, because obviously Trident students, they're not all like attending campus in Southern California. They're all over the country. They're all over the world. But there's probably Trident students who are on the same base in the same town as each other and may not realize it. I mean, are there opportunities for local meetups with fellow Trident students and alumni? I mean, Kendra, do you want to take that one? Because I know you have some experience in that.
Yeah, we have done, Trident has done regional chapters, and some are still active, some are not. To be honest, it's been quite a bit of a challenge to get a sort of global online community to consistently meet in a physical presence. It's, we tested it a lot in 2016 and some of 2017, and it was a challenge to get the consistency. So we don't have as many active communities. There is one in near Killeen, and they do a lot of community outreach and things like that. Also in El Paso, and some of the other ones have just sort of trickled off because it does involve a lot of of work on the regional members' behalf. And so, but that was less of maybe what you're saying in terms of meetups it was more meetups for the networking and to give back to their community and things like that, and less of like, maybe course and program support. It seemed to head more of philanthropic sort of avenue than the other. But we are always open to helping students and alumni find those connections. Anytime a graduate or a student wants to, build a chapter, I'm always there to support and help them put it all together and make it happen, and reach out to the students and alumni that are within their area, whichever mile radius makes sense for that territory. So if anyone's interested, I'm happy to help. But I've known historically it has been a bit of a challenge to maintain.
Yeah, and after the presentation, take a look at your chat box. Everyone in the audience, because the URL for Alumni Fire was sent out. So if you're not on it, you can sign up now. And is actually going to send questions to Dr. Pieffer next, because I know, much like our students, we have faculty all over the world. I mean, are faculty open and willing to meet up with students in person?
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback off what Kendra said. Is part of the class that you have is an introduction part that you don't get any points for it, but it's really, really important, because you can get on there and you can say where you live, you can say what you're interested in, you can say where you work and so forth. And for example, I live in Colorado Springs, and I had 2 students in my class. Both of them were assigned to Fort Carson, Colorado. Their actual barracks were probably 200 meters away from each other. And, I said, hey, you guys get together and talk. And they got together, and they compared feedback from different courses and so forth. And they learned a lot about that. To carry that forward, I love to meet my students. I mean, I taught on ground for a long time. And actually, one of the students that was at Fort Carson, we met for a hamburger and French fries. I mean, that was fantastic. I actually got to see a student face to face and talk to them, which the professors love too. So yeah, don't hesitate. But I think one of the key parts is to get that introduction in and talk about yourself and tell your colleagues about yourself, and you'll find out that you're probably close to some of the others, and you can work together.
Yeah. One thing that I've noticed, not only am I Trident employee, I'm Trident student, and is that threaded discussions are really a kind of untapped resource. And beginning of the class, you introduce yourself, and some people take the quickest point from A to B to introduce themselves. It's like, I am so and so. This is what I do, and that's it. Just take advantage of it. It's not. It's not being boastful to share a lot about yourself, because the more you share, the more chances to have some sort of consistency and commonalities with your classmates, and that's what leads to conversations. So, let's move on to the next slide. Manny, do you want to talk about some more advice for networking?
One of the things, of course, is that do not do something that's going to be unexpected, right? Like I just sent my friend, he didn't ask me anything. I just sent him a lead, right? It just so happened the lead actually panned out. And doing something like sending him a thank you card, you know, not an email, not an actual thank you card, right? And if you don't have their address, then of course send them through email or through LinkedIn. But do something that's going to be memorable. I remember one time there was in the Navy, of course, we have detailers, right? And I wanted to go to a certain place. I just sent him a little fruit basket, and I said, "Hey, remember me when it's time for orders," right? It was kind of crazy, but I did, and guess what? He remembered who I was, and I got to where I got to be. I mean, it was just, I just did it. I don't know why, but I did. It just being, something out of the ordinary, right? And it's about the person. I can't express this enough. Learn from my mistake, okay? It's about them. If you think about others first, everything else will come to you. It's in every relationship. It's just, it just so happens that way, okay? So, and of course, give before you ask. Give something, even if it's just advice or whatever, or ask, hey, how can I help you, or something like that. Treat your contacts like friends. That's one of the most important things. Remember, you're building relationships, and I'm sure you will help your friends out same way as here. And always be generous. All right, it's okay if you give. Guess what? More will come to you. I honestly believe that. The more you give to others, the more they will come back to you.
One of the things I see a lot on LinkedIn is one of our senior admissions advisors. He's very active on LinkedIn, and it's just very simple. He just comments on people's threads, talks to them, gives them encouragement. It's very simple as that. It comes off as 100% genuine, but I can see it's reciprocal to him because over time he's building a stronger, more cohesive network. And I mean, and it's really as simple as that. I mean, Kendra on Alumni Fire, students and alumni have the opportunities to do that. Say if someone gets a new job, to really show support.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a section of the platform that is the bulletin board. And this is a great place where people can genuinely respond to people's posts, to job opportunities they're posting, to a lot of our students and alumni say, hey, I'm transitioning from the military and I need help. I don't know how to do this. And you'll see, I think we had one grad do that, and he got like 7 or 8 responses, people giving their phone numbers and saying, give me a call. I've been there, done that, and I want to help you through this. Others saying, here's some resources, and give website links that have tons of free resources that are available. So I would say the bulletin board is a beautiful place where you can make genuine connections and respond to people's threads, to postings, to needs, and be able to give, as you said, Danny, before, and Manny, give before you then ask for something in response. So I think that the bulletin board, if you haven't been there, check it out and just start, communicating with those people who are putting things out there.
Dr. Pieffer, of course, there's, classes begin, but they always end. And let's say someone sees a lot of commonalities with one of their professors. How can they keep that relationship open after that class ends?
Actually, when my classes end, I send them and I tell them, I said, if you ever have any problems at Trident or you want to have any questions, you got my email. So, I encourage that for them to stay in contact with me. And certainly if you have any questions about, what you'd like to look at or what you'd like to ask me about, it'd be great to do that. I mean, quite frankly, just recently, and, now I'm going to talk to about her. I can't think of her name, but she was in one of my first classes and one of her first classes. And as the associate dean, what I do is I get a list of students that have really impressed their professors. And I send them a note, and the dean sends them a note just to congratulate them. And all of a sudden, this student that I had in one of her first classes, I got a note about her in one of her master's classes. I couldn't believe that she's already working on her master's. And we've stayed in touch. I mean, it's kind of background why she works at Fort Benning, Georgia. That's where I entered the Army. So we talk back and forth just about Fort Benning. If I ever get over there, she'll give me a tour of the whole place. So, you know, you can stay in contact. You got the professor's emails. If you had one that you really enjoyed talking to and stuff like that, just like Randy said, you know, give them a note every now and then. I love to get notes from my students on and how they're doing. And, you know, and since graduation's coming up, I really tell them I really look forward to hopefully you can make graduation so I can shake your hand and see you face to face. So, you know, you got their emails, so stay in contact.
And speaking of Fort Benning, I think we have at least 3 Trident graduates there this year. Isn't that right, Kendra?
No, their base graduation is next Friday, and we have 19 graduates taking part. So, yeah, we have a great turnout. 2 of those graduates are triple grads. So pretty cool to see that Trident is really representing at that event.
And you mentioned that before. What's a triple grad?
A triple grad is someone who has obtained 3 degrees or more at Trident. So either a bachelor's, master's, and doctorate, or a bachelor's and 2 masters, and they've stuck with Trident for 3 or more degrees. So we have 2 of those. One of them is what we like to call a gold, which is someone who's gotten a bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. So pretty cool, and he just finished his EDD and is walking, and we have Dr. Westleck, one of our MAED professors, actually going there to the base to hood the graduate at his base graduation since he can't travel out. So if you haven't heard of our base graduations, we do try to put them out there. We participate in about maybe 12 a year, and if we don't know about it, we want to know about it and send that information our way, and we will definitely do, you know, I'll do what I can to support it with our regional outreach team too.
And, you know, moving on, Manny, we talked a lot about the greater Trident network. Who makes up everyone in the Trident network?
Everyone that worked at Trident, of course, and your alumni, your students, and people that believe it or not, people that partner with us as employers that actually send their employees to us, employers that, you know, that post jobs with us and want to hire our students. Those are all your networks. I mean, it's so much out there, but it's right in front of our faces. So we sometimes don't look right in front of our face. You know, Trident, I mean, we have a network. Our professors alone, I mean, it's a plethora of knowledge. They're working out there, some of them, in the industry. Just start using that. And that's one thing I haven't done with professors. And guess what? I start doing that. And those are the people that we have in our network team.
So, and I think a lot of people they tend to forget that staff is part of the network as well. Your SSAs, your advisors. I mean, me personally, I work in the marketing department, but I've spent time in person with Trident students and alumni before, gotten coffee, attended conferences. So there's a wide range of people who can and are willing to help. I mean, Kendra or Dr. Pieffer, you have? I'm sure you both have plenty of experience. I think you shared some with Dr. Pieffer, but Kendra, I'm sure you've had plenty of experiences of connecting with Trident students and alumni in person and helping them out.
Yeah, like you said, even the conferences. I've been to a lot of conferences, and that's really where you find a lot of our students and alumni. And, oftentimes you'll see Trident having a booth there and, stopping by and saying hello, getting to know, your regional support system. We do have a great outreach team out there that supports both on the military and the corporate side, and they are.
I think we lost you, Kendra.
Yeah. It looks like we lost Kendra. Looks like her mic cut out. So we'll circle back. And I don't think she realizes. So yeah, apologies to everyone in the audience.
But Daniel, just to add something to it, I was at the commissary at the Air Force Academy just recently, going to the grocery and so forth, and I see this guy walking out of the commissary with the Trident University T-shirt on. I mean, we sat there and had a great conversation, probably for about 20 minutes or half an hour, just talking about Trident and where he's gone, where I've been, and so forth. So I mean, they're everywhere.
I was in the airport in Amsterdam once, and I passed someone wearing a Trident shirt. I was running, but we chatted for a good 30 seconds.
And one of the things also, I mean, with the Career Center, we had 2 students that were, were looking for jobs, and what they did, they partnered with me, and they actually took the time to reach out to me, and I reached out to them. And within, I would say, 2 or 3 months from them graduating, they're actually, both of them are working. Both of them are very happy. One of them, I really sat with them, did some coaching. We did some face-to-face on the computer, went over some interviews on the phone, because he was getting a lot of telephone interviews, but he wasn't going to the next step. So then I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me find out what's going on. I interviewed him over the phone, and I was like, okay. So then I started coaching him and moved him on. And thank goodness that he found a job. He's extremely happy. And the other guy is the same way. All I did was use one of my connections in Simplicity and Trident for Careers, and I put that partnership, and I asked him, hey, do you need somebody like this? And I sent them their resume. Within 2 or 3 months, they were looking for jobs, and it wasn't the right fit, but they were actively helping him out. But yeah, I mean, that's another network that's not used a lot.
Thanks for that. And Kendra, how's your vocals going?
I think it's back. Am I back?
Yes.
Yeah.
My phone shut off. I don't know how. It's a landline too.
Yeah. Do you want to finish off what you were saying?
I'm not sure where it cut off, but I think I was speaking to the value of our regional team, our military and partnership team, and just saying, if you're ever going to conferences or events, or there's events in your area, let us know about it, because we want to be there and we want to be represented in your community. So, even if you don't know the right person to reach, if you reach out to any of us, we'll get you to the right person, so that, that our regional team can be supported in your community. And you just may see them at a local conference as well. They're out and about and on the town and trying to meet as many people and communicate the value of Trident in their territories. So, definitely connect with them if you haven't. They can be a great resource.
Yeah, and I've actually gone to a local military post where Dina was from Trident was there, and I sat with her during the time, and it was fun for me because I got to meet some of our students. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And all these events they're advertised. We share them on our website, trident.edu /news and events, or LinkedIn. Manny does a really good job of sharing career fairs that are peppered throughout the United States. So if you're not following him on LinkedIn, give him a follow, because chances are there's going to be something popping up in your hometown. So,
they're also posted in the Trident Day newsletter too.
How can I forget that? Yeah, which that goes out once a month, and all the events are there. But we have a few questions that were kind of pre-submitted, so I'm gonna pose this to Dr. Pieffer first. What resources are available to military students who are considering transitioning into the civilian world?
There are a number of them, but I got to tell you, look at Manny. You see what he looks like. You got his email. I got to tell you, when I got out of the military, you go through the required courses of learning how to write a resume, but I had about 2 weeks left in the Army. I really wasn't interested in that, which really was not a good thing. But there's ways to translate what you did in the military to the civilian world, and that's very, very important on your resume. Civilians don't know what a squad leader did or a platoon sergeant did. Manny does, and Manny can translate what you did in the military to what the civilians understand, and that's key. I mean, if you just said I'm a platoon sergeant, they're going to say, I really don't know what that is. But to me, a platoon sergeant is a human resources person, is a training person, is a manager, and there's so many more things that you leave out if you don't pay attention. But I got to tell you, I know I'm not the only one, but I was getting out in a week. I was retiring. I really wasn't interested, and I wish I had been. But we've got somebody like Manny who actually understands the difference, and that's key, because I've been at a couple universities that didn't. And you're not going to get a good resume together if you don't translate what you did in the military to what civilians can understand.
Yeah, great advice. Yeah, I've been to career fairs and other events with Manny, and it's great to see him in action, talking to people one-on-one and really helping them translate these experiences. Kendra, do you have anything to add to this?
Well, I've got to shout out Alumni Fire, of course, too, because you can reach out to, literally, I could tell you, actually, there's hundreds of people that say they want to help with military transition assistance. A is one specific item, and the other is resume review. And these are people raising their hand saying, I want to help you with this. And all you have to do is send them, and through the platform, send them your resume, and you'll get a response. And you can do it with several different students or alumni, people in different fields maybe that you're trying to get into, and get different opinions. And these are people offering free help because they want to help their Trident community. So go on there, submit your resume to students and alumni, and pick and choose the feedback that you want to embed into your resume to make it more translatable from the military to civilian workforce.
We just got an Alumni Fire question, but I'm going to hold on that because in 2 slides we have some more Alumni Fire coming up. So,
okay.
Next question, and we actually got multiple people asking about this one as well, so this seems to be a popular subject. But does Trident offer mentorship opportunities, and how are these accessed, Annie?
They sure do, and actually we have, for the military team, we actually have a set of outreach military people that actually been transitioned and now in the civilian world. We have that specific one. Of course, you have the Simplicity. We have over 6,000 people that actually have been enrolled in Simplicity. That they're mostly all Trident grads, and of course they want to, they will want to help as well. But one of the biggest things is that some of the employers actually put, I could mentor, I could help, and if you're looking to work for that company, think about it, and especially when that hiring manager says, I will mentor you, that means he's going to help you or she's going to help you transition into that company. So, it's just a matter of helping out. One thing is that we're not promising you any jobs or anything like that, but what we're doing is getting at least 65% there. You know what I mean? It's like getting you in touch with, being a conduit between you and the employer. So mentoring, there's of course an Alumni Fire. People put down I'm one of them. I put mentoring, I put resume, and it's just a matter of using your resources. That's the whole thing. It's out there. We have it. It's free. Use it.
Yeah. And how do people access Simplicity, Manny?
It's if you go to the portal, it's TridentForCareers.edu and at Trident.edu. Sorry about that. And that's where you can actually go in there. You have to register as a whole new person. Once you register, you can go on there and actually get on, see where there's over. The last time I looked, there was over 600,000 jobs in the whole system. because it's not only, these are companies that are looking to hire people. And of course, we have Amazon that posts jobs there. Matter of fact, they're looking for interns right now, IT interns. If you're interested, send me an email and I would, help you out.
Are those internships paid?
Yes, the last time I spoke to them, it was $27 an hour. And the intern, most of the time, if they go and they get through the internship, they said it's most of the time they get hired. So, and making really good money. So.
Yeah, and these aren't internships where people are, like getting coffee and,
Oh, no.
running errands. They're actually doing real work based on their experience and expertise.
Correct. Yes.
Dr. Pieffer, what about from the faculty perspective? Are there faculty members who are willing to be mentors to students and alumni?
Actually, there are. Quite frankly, a lot of faculty members, part of their job description is to continue doing research, working toward publications of some of the research that they had. And it's not unusual at all to have a student in your class who's very interested in that same topic. And they can work together with that and, possibly get a publication with their name in it with a faculty member. So faculty members are always looking for some folks that are interested in what they're interested in so they can work together and do some of that research, which makes them better in the classroom, but it also shows that Trident has some superb faculty who can do international research.
And I think that's definitely a benefit for those of you who are masters thinking about going onto a doctoral program or even in a doctoral program, because getting practice at research is really key, because it's definitely a difficult thing, and working with some of the experienced researchers at Trident definitely be a boon to your education. And we're going to move on to our last kind of pre-submitted question, but this one's all you, Kendra. What you shared a lot.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
What was that?
What else can you share about Alumni Fire?
Well, I was just looking up actually to follow up on the question about, how many people are offering, the resume review. And it actually says that, we actually have 355 students that are offering resume review as a service on the platform, and 281 that are offering to help with military transition assistance. So if these are areas that you're needing support in among, the 12 others or that we have outlined on the platform, we're here for you. We want to help you find success, and there's over 1,140 members on the site now. So it's a community that's waiting to support you, and that's the beautiful thing about Trident. So connect on there, reach out, look at the jobs. If you're wanting to work for Amazon, or if you're wanting to work for Booz Allen Hamilton, if you're wanting to work, there's thousands of organizations where our students are working that are listed there. And then you click on the organization, it shows you who exactly worked there and from what class, and then you can reach out to them. So, take advantage of your network, your student and alumni network, in addition to the other networks that Manny and Dr. Pieffer spoke of. But, there really is a great wealth of resources on that platform for you to take advantage of.
Yeah, that's a very, very large network for a platform that's relatively new to Trident. I'm wondering, are there other ways that students and alumni can sort through, perhaps by military branch or by geographic location?
Yeah, there's actually, if you go onto the members page of it, it allows you, there's a great sort filter, and you can look for, service members by branch. And you can just sort through all those who, are in the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps. And then you can drill down and find those who graduated in the class of 99, if that's interesting to you, or those who graduated with an MAED or an EDD. And you can filter all these different ways to really find the population that's going to be able to support you. So I highly recommend using that. You also mentioned earlier about finding members in your community. You can search by zip code. You can search by city. live in Atlanta, Georgia, you can search Atlanta, Georgia, MAED students and alumni who graduated, 2016 to 2018, and it'll pop up those students for you. And you can have kind of fun playing with that to find really the people that are going to be able to support you. So I do highly recommend using that drill down feature.
Yeah. One thing that I found really impressive with Alumni Fire is when I was looking through the people who signed up, there was such a large number of Trident's faculty who were on there, and including our faculty leadership, which is cool. I mean, Dr. Pieffer, I don't know how much time you've spent on Alumni Fire, but this sounds like something that really speaks to kind of the spirit of Trident's faculty.
Actually, I was just getting ready to tell Kendra that she's got a convert. I've been lazy and I haven't spent any time at all. But after this presentation and so forth, I will be on it this afternoon. And quite frankly, I'm going to look for zip codes and see how many of my students are close and see what I can say to them.
Oh, there you go. There you go. See?
I've been lazy. I'm ready.
Yeah. And Kendra, I just got some messages. We multiple people in the audience are converts as well. So sales pitch worked.
Here. Thank you. Thanks for giving me this platform to spread the word.
So we've reached the end of our presentation, and I don't know if anyone has any other questions that they would like answered, because we did something unique today and we're answering things as they came along. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in now, and I'm going to open up the floor. I'm going to start with Manny, and just if you have any closing thoughts or quick closing advice for everyone, and then we'll go to Kendra.
Well, of course, one of the things is, like I said before, make sure you cultivate your network. Make sure you look right in front of your face and look, the people that are willing to help you, and make sure that you give before you take.
That my cue?
Yeah, that's your cue.
Okay, thanks. I'm learning. No, I think I've said it. All I need to say, I also am a resource here for you. If, what I've talked about today is a little confusing or it's intimidating to use the platform, I'm here for you. Reach out, email, call. I'll walk you through the site. I'll show you around. But if you're not using it, you're missing a great tool that will empower you and enable you to find and open doors. So hopefully you've learned that today, and if you're still uneasy, reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you. I just want to find you guys reach your potential and find great opportunities using your network.
And Dr. Pieffer?
Yeah, I just as I tell all my students, don't hesitate to talk to your professor. That's my, I guess, my sword in the sand or something. I got a class and I keep saying, hey, you got any questions? You got any problems? Ask me. So don't be afraid to do that. And quite frankly, you can start some great conversations and have some good links. In fact, I'm going to get with Kendra and find out who the people are that are graduating at Fort Benning, because I know she's on that list, and I'm going to do what Manny recommended, and I'm going to send her a congratulations card through the snail mail, because I tell you, that's all that it works.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and just a real quick story to share is that a few months ago, this is how really the Trident Network works, is that someone wrote into Alumni Fire. Kendra referred this person to myself and Manny and I both concurrently helped him. But I was curious. I wanted to know. This guy told me about his background. I was curious to know which professors he had, because I knew that in his program, some of his professors surely matched up with his career path, and it turned out one of them did. And so I was asking him, it's just like, well, you had this professor a couple sessions ago. You should reach out. You should have reached out to him. And he said, like, I didn't know I was able to do that. I'm like, Yeah, definitely. So reached out to the professor, and the professor just responded, it's like, I'd love to talk to him. And so don't be shy.
I mean, it's the same for us. I mean, you know, you get in the middle of a class, sometimes even for professors, you do the same thing a lot of times and it gets boring. It's fantastic when a student reaches out and says, how about this? I mean, that makes it way more fun for the professor.
So it looks like we're out of questions. So I want to thank our guest panelists today, and going to pass things off to Manny to close things out.
All righty. Well, again, thank you so much for participating today. We appreciate you joining us, making the most out of your Trident network. We hope that you enjoyed it and you learned something new from this session. Watch out for the email containing the link to the recording and the slides from today's webinar. So you are going to get it, okay? And please make sure to leave comments and suggestions on how to before you log out.
And if you're not on Alumni Fire, Kendra will search you out. So you might as well just.
And the same with Simplicity. If you're not in there, then you must be having the job. Experience Trident, the Trident University advantage. One of the things that we do career planning, job searching, self-assessment, career transition, resume review, mentoring and network opportunities. And of course, we have Alumni Fire, which is all encompasses and everything. But one of the things is that if you always want to open up your opportunities, just like the two men that I just finished helping out. My biggest passion is to help people. I used to do a lot of job fairs, and I can tell you, doing this is something I'm passionate about, and I know the feeling of not having a job. So, with that being said, reach out. If you're having a struggle, reach out. We'll help you. If I can't help you, I have all these resources that I'm going to start using. Right? So again, just look into it. It's. I send it on the questions there. It's Simplicity is TUI/CSM.simplicity.com or Trident for Careers. Either one will get you to the link. And that's what we can do for you. And again, upcoming webinars, August 22nd. We are having our third or fourth virtual career fair. We already have the FBI already saying yes, they're going to come. And there's other companies as well. So one of the things I can tell you is stay tuned for some more announcements on that. And in July, I think I just spoke to him. That's why I didn't put it in there, because I got to make sure that we're going to have a really big oil company coming to speak to us. I'm not going to say the name, because then I don't have any suspense for you guys. But it's a huge oil company, and that's the next step. Is of course how to connect with me. That's my telephone number, and again, it's Trident for Careers at trident.edu. That is the way you can send me emails and go from there. And again, thank you for attending. I appreciate it all. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. It was awesome to do this. Take care. Thanks, Danny.